The show for me and you. Mondays to Fridays, ooh. The Traffic Avenue. Traffic Avenue. The show for me and you. Mondays to Fridays, ooh. The Traffic Avenue.
Oh, flex. Buckle up and join the best. Let Citi relieve your stress. So yes, let the music soothe your soul and keep it going just to refresh. Buckle and enjoy the ride from 2 to the half of the 5. Mondays to Fridays happening live. Where we gon' have a ball, you can text your guys. Let me tell you what you really gotta do. You can count on us, we come through. We got everything you need, that's true. Are you ready for the Traffic Avenue? Let me tell you what you really gotta do. You can count on us, we come through. We got everything you need, that's true. An applause for the Traffic Avenue.
Traffic Avenue. The show for me and you. Mondays to Fridays, ooh. The Traffic Avenue. Traffic Avenue. The show for me and you. Mondays to Fridays, ooh. Traffic Avenue. Oh, yeah.
Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go.
Traffic Avenue. The show for me and you. Mondays to Fridays, ooh. The Traffic Avenue. Traffic Avenue. The show for me and you. Mondays to Fridays, ooh. The Traffic Avenue.
Oh, flex. Buckle up and join the best. Let Citi relieve your stress. So yes, let the music soothe your soul and keep it going just to refresh. Buckle and enjoy the ride from 2 to the half of the 5. Mondays to Fridays happening live. Where we gon' have a ball, you can text your guys. Let me tell you what you really gotta do. You can count on us.
97.3. More variety.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
City News.
It's 17:30 GMT. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. I am Umaru Sanda Amadu. Tonight, I'm here with
Hawa Idrisu Mustafa.
And coming up over the next 90 minutes.
I've been taken to Juju people and all that. We have pictures of it. In fact, it was one of the military police gentlemen who brought the picture. But I'm still standing here. I'm not dead. And I will not die.
The controversial appointment of a chief of defense staff continues with more twists and turns. Tonight, we'll hear from the chief of army staff who says people are resorting to juju in that particular endeavor. Also coming up, we'll return to Abidjan in Ivory Coast, where we are hearing that the government of Ghana has begun paying stipends to football fans who told us they were hungry. Meanwhile, the committee in charge of sports in Parliament has driven to Côte d'Ivoire. We are told they're going on an assessment mission. And later on Eyewitness News, we continue our focus on the NPP parliamentary primaries. Tonight, we are in the Nsawam Adwejiri constituency, where one of the contestants, Hayford Sian, his team members are angry with what they say are attempts by the incumbent MP supporters to remove his posters in the constituency. We'll be hearing from both sides. Stay with 97.3 Citi FM for more on that and many other stories on Eyewitness News. And in business,
government urged to deepen fiscal consolidation effort to sustain the country's economic recovery.
That's in 50 minutes from the City Business Desk. Eyewitness News is live across Ghana on a host of affiliate stations, including in the Western region on Adwinpa 100.7 FM in Takwa, Sky Power 93.5 FM in Takrady, and Beach 105.5 FM also in Takrady. In the Bono region, we are on Greener 95.9 FM in Sunyani. In Ashanti, we are on Focus 94.3 FM in Kumasi, Orange 107.9 FM also in Kumasi. In the Volta region, we are live on Revival 99.3 FM in Tajevu, VOV Radio 95.7 FM in Hohwe. In the Northern region, we are on Radio Bimbila 91.9 FM in Bimbila. In the Upper East region, we are on Quality 88.7 FM in Garu. In the Upper West region, we are on Tungtung 97.3 FM in Wa and Jirapa 96.1 FM also in Jirapa. The show is live on YouTube, live on Facebook, live on citynewsroom.com, and we are interactive. Join us on our various social media platforms, including WhatsApp, where the number to send your message to is 0549 986 996. 0549 986 996. Send your messages and the world will hear what you think. Alternatively, go on Twitter, use the hashtag City Newsroom, tweet at Umaru Sanda or at City973, and the world will hear what you think. Let's start off with the Ghana Armed Forces now, shall we? Hawa.
The Chief of Army Staff, Major General Thomas Opon-Pepera, has said speculations that he rejected the Chief of Defence Staff appointment are unfounded. Reports have emerged that his alleged rejection of the CDS position has stalled a shake-up in the military. Addressing soldiers at the Bema camp in Accra on Monday, Major General Opon-Pepera expressed concern over what he described as unwarranted attacks directed at him.
Opon-Pepera is tearing stomachs and heads and creating fear in people. I don't understand why. And so I've been attacked, and they keep attacking me. Even this morning, just like before I got here, a publication was sent to me where it's being indicated that I have refused to accept the appointment of CDS, and as a result, there's a stop in the military shakeup. I've been taken to Juju people and all that. We have pictures of it. In fact, it was one of the military police gentlemen who brought the picture. But I'm still standing here. I'm not dead, and I will not die. If you can't cope up with what I do, just sit down and zip up. That is all. You don't need to write all those things. They've made me an Achim. I'm not an Achim. I'm a Bunu. I'm very proud. From the Mahinkro. Yeah, we speak there, bear. Yes, I love it. Can't change me. And you see, for the past 4 years, together, teamwork, we have achieved so much. And people are jealous of us. That is all. I didn't do it. We did it as an army, together with my staff officers and everyone. Commanding officers going to Bondasi and adding to whatever we are doing over there. It is teamwork. It is not me or Opon-Pepera, so don't attack me. Anyway, I'm from the armor. You can't penetrate me at all.
He heard the Chief of Army Staff, Major General Thomas Opon-Pepera.
Let's speak to Colonel retired Festus Abuaji. He's a security analyst. Colonel, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Thank you very much, Mr. Umaru.
It is not usual to be hearing someone as high-ranking as Chief of Army Staff to be making the statements that we've just heard, is it? I mean, I am finding it a bit intriguing.
Well, once again, thanks for having me. And let me say, as I've done previously, that I happen to be what we call the course commander of the Ghana Military Academy Intake 26 that Major General Tom Opon-Pepera and some other colleagues, about 7 of them currently in the armed forces, belong to. So that's the backdrop, suggesting that I know him a bit, well, because in 1986 I was their course commander. Now, he has responded to quite a range of issues with several undertones. And my personal opinion is that, given that whatever was written in the media was about him, he's got an emotional attachment to the statement. And therefore, maybe advisedly, he should not have responded. He should have allowed the system, the institution. And I think in this case, the public relations department of General Headquarters to have responded. But it's already responded. And the first point, one of the first points that he made was about the idea that he has declined the offer of being appointed the Chief of the Defense Staff. Now, let me explain that. Being appointed to any position in the Ghana Armed Forces is not an action that can be, forced down on an individual. I myself had occasion when I was a lieutenant colonel to decline a position that I was being offered. And that was the end of it. I know another officer, I don't think it's appropriate to mention his name, who was a major general, who was being offered this CDS position some years back. And he explained that he wanted to be where he was. So the government or the institution appointed, a new officer. So it's not unusual for any officer to say, thank you very much for what you want to offer me, but I think I'm happy as I am. I want to go home or I want to stay wherever I am. Even the appointment of ambassadors for a few officers who have had the privilege of being offered that position when they had retired, especially as chiefs of defense staff, some senior officers had declined, that they were not interested in the appointment of CDS. So I want Ghanaians to understand that it is perfectly within the rights of Major General Tomo Pomprepra to refuse, not to refuse, to decline, assuming that the source of that statement is true. Because I don't know where the media house that published that information got the information from, that the government had or wants to appoint him as CDS, and he, Major General Tomo Pomprepra, is not interested. Where did that information come from? So that's one side of it. Then there are some statements, some nuances like shake-up. Where does that come from? Look, periodical, indeed, every year, there are officers who retire, and there are officers who are promoted, and there are officers who are appointed, and there are officers who are posted to certain positions, various positions. It's a normal, it's a routine way of managing the careers of officers. But then periodically, especially when it coincides with the tenure of, let's say, CDS or service commanders, once a service commander moves up or a CDS goes home, another service commander moves in, or maybe some other officer, because it's not always the case that the service commander may become, the new CDS. But once that change starts happening, there's an upward swell where a few individuals keep moving up the apex or towards the apex. And some then will fall off, and then others will move up. But we don't call it shake-up. You see, the shake-up has some connotations as if some earthquake or whatever is about to take place. And it sends the wrong signals, to those who may not know how appointments and promotions are made, in the Ghana Armed Forces. Then there is this idea of people not liking him. Look, every senior officer that I had known since I became, let's say, a major, whether a CDS or Army commander, Navy commander, not all of them are liked. And I'm talking of the era of General Kwenu, for instance, or General Tafia, or Air Marshal Dumashi, General Obeng, and, fine officers. But it is not the case that everybody likes them. I hope you get what I'm saying. And
yes, I'm following.
A number of reasons. It could be ethnic, tribal, call it that way. It could be some competition between these officers and some of their contemporaries. That is competition, professional competition, and so on and so on. It could be a whole range of things. It could be some officers that they would have disciplined at some points in time in the careers of other officers. So not being liked or being disliked is again not unusual. It's not peculiar to Major General Tom Opon Prepra. Now, being taken to the spiritual people and so on, it's not too long ago that we heard similar statements about the IGP, I think. And I know it happened. When I left the Ghana Armed Forces, under the circumstances that I left, there were officers who came to me. Let me call them officers who were spiritually enlightened, came to me and suggested that the whole thing was spiritual. You see what I mean? So again, it's not peculiar to General Opon Prepra that he's been taken to the Juju people or wherever and so on and so forth. But let me end where I started. That because the publication or the story was about him personally, and he's got an emotional attachment to the story, I think, and I stand to be corrected in all humility, that he should not have responded in person, And I don't see how much good he has done to the story by responding himself, to the extent of innuendos like his armor, he cannot be penetrated, and so on and so forth. But one day, when he becomes, or let me say, if he becomes the chief of the defense staff, he's going to work with some of these media houses, and he's going to work with Ghanaians, and he's going to work with the men and women of the Ghana Armed Forces. So it should be conciliatory in tone, rather than pointing fingers and then causing further cleavages, which will not serve him well when he becomes, or if he becomes, the chief of the defense staff.
Listening to him debunk the claim that he has rejected clearly means he is interested in the position, and it would appear someone does not want him to get that job. That's the sense I get. Is that a fair thinking?
Well, I don't know whether he's been called, because you don't go to bed and wake up and then your name is mentioned that you are the new CDS or you are the new chief of the army staff. The normal tradition, what the office of the presidency in that previous statements, the conventions, is that you'll be called and you'll be informed and you'll be invited to become a CDS. And you have the prerogative to accept with thanks and appreciation, or to reject, decline with thanks and appreciation. So it may be that he's being called. It may also be that he's not being called. But of the crop of officers currently, of the rank of major generals, the 7 of them that I mentioned, coming from one intake 26 dating back to 1986, any one of them, all things being equal, could become a CDS. And when I responded to an earlier, the earlier press statement from the office of the president, which I responded to those allegations that if the CDS incumbent, Admiral Setamwama, goes home, then 2 of his mates will also have to go home, 1 Army and 1 Navy. It's not automatic. It's a question of whether they have reached what we call the ceiling. Because as brigadier generals, if they have not, been moved to the rank of major general by, can be quite precise, but let's say by the age 50 or 60, for instance, then automatically, per regulations, administrative rules and regulations, they will be going home. It is not that anybody is pushing them out of the armed forces. So that is intake 23 that the CDS belongs to, with 2 colleagues that I have mentioned. Then there is intake 24 with 1 officer, who is also a brigadier general equivalent. Then there is intake 25 with 2 other officers, who are also brigadier generals. Before you come to this intake 26, which has 7 officers, at least I know that 5 of them are major generals. I'm not sure of the rank of their colleague who is in the Navy, for instance. But I know that 5 of them are major generals as we speak. So any one of them, and any of these 5 that I've mentioned, 2 being the mates of Admiral Muammar, all things being equal, could become the new CDS. You see. But even if he's not interested or if he's interested, he shouldn't say that he's interested. He will disclose that to the authorities when he's called. So I see it as a bit of provocation on the part of, segments of the media, to try and preempt some of these procedures or some of these processes. And it's not auguring well, for stability and so on and so forth. Now, I have had occasion to also explain that. Call it animosity about him. Did not start yesterday. You see, we could go back to about 2016. So at any time that these appointments are to take place, it is not a clear run for one person. Sometimes it's about 2 officers who are most qualified, sometimes even 3. So, at the time that General Dankwa became CDS, for instance, the competition was between him and another officer. And the government decided that General Dankwa will become the new CDS. Then they found a place for, this other officer that I'm mentioning. When, for instance, Admiral Kwashi, the late Admiral Kwashi, may he so rest in peace, before he became CDS, again, the offer was made to another officer, one of his colleagues. Last I suggested, that officer declined with appreciation and thanks. So Admiral Kwashi was appointed the CDS. You see, these are the nuances of these promotions and appointments. Sometimes the problem is that, we don't write, as Ghanaians, we don't write our histories. So very few Ghanaians know about the nuances of professional military careers, or maybe professional police careers, or professional whatever it is. And that leaves a lot to conjecture. So I'm saying that let us wait. Because I've suggested that what the Office of the Presidency wrote in that statement a week or so ago, that when, I said it's not it said if. And I suggested that it's not a question of if, it's a question of when. Because obviously Admiral Seta Muammar is about to leave. You see what I mean? I haven't spent 3 or so years in that seat. He has to, leave. And then some other officers have to come in. So we've come very far from the days of, should I say, the PNDC, the early days of the NDC, where you could have one officer as chief of the army staff in that position for 5 or 6 years. When that happens, it means that promotions have been stifled. And while the senior officer is holding that position, others below him are being sent home. And it creates all manner of tension. So the normal routine, the natural routine, if I should put it that way, is for those at the top to keep, moving on, so others could have the chance, to be promoted. Because that publication, social media publication that the presidency referred, you recall that they mentioned a number of colonels being frustrated or whatever it is because they are being sent home. Because look, there can only be one CDS who is a lieutenant general. There can only be one, a number of major generals as pertains now. The chief of army staff is one. The chief of staff, who is his mate, is also one. The commandant of the Ghana Military Academy is one. The newly appointed commandant of the National Defense College is also one. There are 5 of them, they're all major general, plus another one who is with the Border Commission. You see, all 5 cannot become CDS. Only one. And if that one happens to be the chief of staff and he moves up, only one can become chief of the army staff. So when this happens, those 7 officers who are all mates of Major General Pompepra cannot stay on for another 3 years because they might have exceeded, the age that goes with the rank of Major General. It's a natural procedure. And I think that, the army has been treated very well. We should not bring the army to the level of the police, which becomes too politicized and so on. Well, I'm not saying that there is no politics. I've indicated that politics have always been part of it all the way to 2016. You see, which is one reason why his personality has been attacked the way that it is. I would have wished that he kept quiet and not spoken to the media. Because if all of us had to take to the media to explain the circumstances under which we went home, I'm telling you, the media will not even have space, to take up our stories.
I've spoken to soldiers who say that the appointment of this chief of army staff to the position of CDS would see so many people retire prematurely. You've mentioned the people who have to go. Is it a high number or is it a low number? And if it's going to be a high number, would that not be inconveniencing? If there are people senior to him, should they not be the ones who should be promoted and made the chief of defense staff? The conversations have been had.
Well, the exigencies of this issue that we're talking about, I'm suggesting, did not start yesterday. They go back several years. You see, I've mentioned intake 26, with 7 officers who are still in the system, 5 of whom I can vouch are major generals. You see, now ask me, where are those intake 25, intake 24, intake 25, 2 of them are left. Where are the rest? They don't know. Because the 7 officers were promoted, or 5 officers that I can speak to, were promoted major generals over and above them, not yesterday, a few years back. Now, the intake 24, that is left with only 1. Where are his mates? They've also had to go home because these 5 officers were promoted over and above them, albeit that their intakes, they are senior to intake 26. Then Admiral Setamuama, who is the CDS, who has 2 of his mates left as Brigadier Generals, right? Where are the rest? And where are these 2 major Brigadier Generals when, CDS Admiral is a Lieutenant General equivalent? So you begin to see that the career planning of officers, somebody calculated that intake 26 should be promoted years back ahead of the others, creating a situation where they, by default, rank, because rank supersedes intake. Intake, I've argued in my book on the Ghana Army or the indigenous African warfare, is only an administrative arrangement because you cannot send one officer to the military academy or any military academy to train. You send a number of them based on human resource calculations about how many officers will be needed in the year or so ahead. But it doesn't mean that because your intake is senior to others, you become senior to them till the time that you, you retire. So there have been several instances where, not even these last 7 or so years, going, several years back, there have been several instances where officers of senior intakes have been, what is the word that we use? They have been, it's not bypassed, but you can say bypassed, overpassed, superseded, whatever it is. It happens. And when it happens that way, for purposes of morale, reasons of morale, look, if you Umaru at Citi, Let's say you are senior to my good friend Bernard Avle, and Bernard was promoted ahead of you. You might not feel too fine. Your morale will go down. The way you relate to him and other colleagues and the city, institution will be affected. So when it happens like that, for the sake of the institution, those officers who are being surpassed, bypassed, overpassed, whatever, will be retired. But when they are being retired, cognizance will be given to the age that goes with the rank in which they are. Because if you retire any officer ahead of time, you need to pay the difference between the salaries at the time that he's being retired and the end of that bracket year. So assuming that a brigadier general can serve up to, let's say, 60 years, let's assume, and that brigadier general is 57 and you send him home, then the government, the state of Ghana, must pay this officer 3 years emoluments. Now, if you have 5 of them, as in this case, it's going to be a huge cost to the national budget. And those were some of the tensions around 2016, when a whole lot of officers, were looking like going home, and that factor kicked in, that the state cannot pay for those remaining years for these officers to go home.
So for economic reasons, it would be ideal that we choose someone who is higher in rank so that the status quo remains, rather than choose someone with a lower rank and send people home and compensate them.
All things being equal, you joined Citi 10 years ago.
13.
Right? Now, 13 years ago. All things being equal, those who joined 5 years ago should wait. Now, if those who joined 5 years ago are promoted over you, 13 years experience, of course, Citi is not like the armed forces. But in the armed forces, when it happens like that, it's invariably the case that those officers who are being superseded will be going home. You see what I mean? It's a certain, kind of natural sequence of events.
Okay, I get
it. Care should be taken.
Okay.
In fact, let me use this platform because these days AI is becoming, the new technology of choice. I am suggesting that rather than take a piece of paper on which you have a list of 10 officers and you have scores, how old, that kind of stuff. How many years has he spent in the current rank and those. Let's find an AI to take confidential reports, whether they have it, and let the AI, which will assess the temperament without any emotional attachment and say that, yes, at this point in time, Officer A is the most senior when you put all of these things together. But temperament-wise, he may not be the most suitable. Therefore, Officer B should become the new CDS. Or you build in the service factors. Look, Admiral Setamama is Navy. Before him was my good friend, General Obed Akwa. So when Admiral Setamama is leaving, in all likelihood, another Navy officer cannot become the CDS. So there are 3 services who need to be given equal attention. So normally Army leaves, and then you bring in Navy, then you bring in Air Force, like that. Not necessarily in that order, but sometimes it doesn't happen that way. You could have, especially because Army officers are normally more in numbers than the Navy and the Air. Maybe you could have a couple of Army officers being CDS and so on. So that is one of the factors.
Okay. What should
then you have the factor of ethnicity. I mean, if your CDS is a Ghana, your Army commander is a Ghana, your Southern commander is a Ghana, immediately you sense that, no, there's something abnormal about this. Because Ghana is not made up of one ethnic group. is made up of several ethnic groups. So at the point of recruitment or enlistment, you make sure that that enlistment is balanced. It's got all the different ethnic groups of Ghana. And all things being equal, they keep, rising in rank. By the time they become brigadier general, you have a few Ewas, you have a few Akans, you have a few, Northness and so on. So that it doesn't become like, the army has become the prerogative or the whatever it is of maybe one ethnic group or whatever.
So that explains why he vehemently rebutted the claim that he is Achim.
Again, you see, it's not unusual. Umaru, I can tell you for a fact that the basic assumption is that when you hear that Umaru is Umaru, you assume that Umaru is NDC, for instance, or that Umaru is MPP. In the worst form of this example, an officer whose wife happened to be still is an Ewe. People were saying that no, that officer is NDC because his wife is NDC. I mean Ewe, and therefore that, you see what I mean? It gets very, very funny. So that is how this argument, pejorative as it is going. That because his wife is Achim, then by extension, even if his allegiance is towards MPP, if you use that factor alone, you see. So I don't know whom we're going to blame.
Okay.
And of course, we know that we should blame the political class.
Actually, that's what I was going to come to next. And in your concluding comment, what should the Jubilee House do now? And must it be done now or later?
Well, whatever the case is, there will be the need to appoint a new CDS and new service commanders, a new, these commands that we've created for the army. Those officers who were holding defense attachés appointments have come home and they've been replaced. Some may be coming and others may replace. It's a natural cycle. If you delay it too much, then let's go back to the first social media document that was in circulation, that a number of colonels are having to go home. You see, because you have kept certain officers, stagnant at certain positions and virtually blocked the opportunities for these other officers to move up. So the longer you delay, the worse the problem becomes. The government must exercise moral courage, must be very fair, in whom it chooses to become the new CDS and who becomes the new Chief of Army Staff and where the other service commanders and so on are going. I've seen a certain list. I cannot mention that list, but it's part of what is circulating on social media. That we're talking of intake 2026, right? But then you have, in that list, a short list of about 5. You have other officers who are even junior to intake 26 being penciled as possible or potential chiefs of defense staff. It creates problems. You see what I mean? Mm. To the extent possible, you go as close to the intakes as possible and make sure that in planning the careers of officers, you do it in such a way that at any point in time, there is that equity, that fairness. A couple of days ago, I was having a conversation with a retired officer, I think. Yes. And let me mention the name. He's late. One Lieutenant Colonel J.A. Ankara, a very fine officer. So even me, as a captain, I was called by Lieutenant Colonel J.A. Ankara, who sat with me, in his office, took my folder, and then traced my path where I've been since I left the military academy. So, okay, you are doing well, but as of now, you are not ready to be promoted, or you are not whatever it is to be promoted, let's say a major, if I was a captain, which I think I was. And that, okay, you've been in the training environment for a while, and I think we need to find a way of diversifying your professional background. So maybe we send you somewhere, a headquarters as a staff officer. That is how officers' careers must be planned. It means the officer who is responsible, well, in the Army, we used to call them MS, military staff. Now I think it's ASEC, Army Secretary, and then Naval Secretary and Air Secretary. They've got the files of all the officers. And when they sleep and they wake up, they must go over the files, plotting the careers of the officers, in such a way that we don't create a situation where we overlook a certain officer. And then we create these kinds of tensions. You see?
Okay. Let's leave it here for now. Thank you so much for the views. Thank you. That's Colonel Festus Abuaji speaking to us there on the so-called shake-up in the Ghana Armed Forces. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. More coming your way. Please stay with us.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
The wait is over. It's the Clash of Titans. The Total Energies African Cup of Nations Côte d'Ivoire 2023 is here. And as part of this year's competition, all Total Energy service stations will go into 100% football mode. So drive to selected service stations and kickstart your year with lots of amazing giveaways. This is our way of supporting our gallant Black Stars. So starting Sunday 14th January, when you buy fuel or lubricants from selected Total Energy service stations on Ghana match days, you instantly win amazing branded souvenirs. Let's celebrate the passion of football together and win lots of gifts during the 2023 Total Energies African Cup of Nations. Remember, promo is valid while stocks last. Visit our social media pages Total Energies GH for more information. Terms and conditions apply. Let's live football together.
Do you care enough about your business? Then it's time to make a transition to renewable energy and energy efficiency solutions. Visit the AGI Energy Service Center and talk to us. AGI ESC cares about business growth. That is why we're here to assist industries cut production costs through energy savings. We provide you with solar feasibility studies, energy audits, energy efficiency trainings, and financial advisory services. Visit agiesc.com for more information or call us on 0507 977 902, an initiative of the Association of Ghana Industries in partnership with the German Development Corporation, implemented by GIZ.
The other day, I visited Kweku at his spunky new office to congratulate him on opening his business. And man, was I impressed. The business is just moving quick. The sales, customers, everything is just working seamlessly. The secret? He said,
it's MTN Business Broadband. In this fast-paced environment, we need fast and reliable internet to support all business types. No laggy online meetings, great download and upload speeds, impeccable business management systems, all inclusive. I mean, you can have it all.
Sharp! I signed on immediately.
To enable your business stay ahead and stay connected, make sure you're signed on to the best internet made just for businesses. MTN Business Broadband. Sign up today on broadband.mtn.com.gh and manage your account on my MTN app. Call 0244 308 111 for more information. We are good together everywhere you go.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
You're welcome back. Let's do some other stories. And the Media Foundation for West Africa is advising the public against the propagation of misleading information ahead of this year's general election. with social media becoming a primary medium for disseminating such deceptive narratives, it has become necessary to implement proactive measures to address such issues. Speaking with City News, the programs officer for the Institutional Development Program at the Foundation, Krobia Asante, urged the media and other stakeholders to assume a pivotal role in debunking such false reports.
There's a lot of misinformation and disinformation popping up, a lot of social media manipulation as well. And a lot of the political players employ what we call cyber troopers, people who are just being hired, to share disinformation for a cost. And, you see that happening a lot of times. What our suggestion would be is that all the players, number one, the election management body, the media houses, civil society organizations, mount up good platforms or campaigns on media information literacy. So let us understand what the political systems are, or the processes that are likely to be misconstrued, that people are likely to generate false information from, those there should be thorough education on the process in such a way that people are well informed, so that it becomes very little for anybody to believe, or for anybody to be dissuaded by the social media manipulations, the disinformation campaigns, the intentional deliberate attempts to mislead people. That's that one. And of course the media comes in. We need to do a lot of education in debunking false information.
Programs Officer for the Institutional Development Program at the Media Foundation for West Africa, Krobia Asante. Now, still on elections, the Minister for Communications and Digitalization, Esla Owusu-Ekufo, is calling on the National Communications Authority and the National Media Commission to heighten their supervisory roles in monitoring the media space. She stressed the need for measured content to prevent the dissemination of material that can cause chaos. She spoke on the sidelines of the launch of the 5-year strategic plan of the National Communications Authority here in Accra.
I know the NCA has set up a broadcast monitoring center here, which the National Media Commission is using to monitor the content that is put out by all broadcasters. And those who fall foul of their own guidelines are sanctioned. I expect them to deepen that collaboration to ensure that together they work to sanitize the airwaves, and we don't see an upsurge in fake news media publications, defamatory material, and things that would tend to disturb or threaten the peace and security of our nation. Somebody may think that this is just a loose statement that I'm making, but the impact of it may be far-reaching. So I'm expecting the two regulators to work very, very closely together this year to monitor what's put out and work with the industry, the Journalists Association and Independent Broadcasters Association as well, to sanitize the space for our collective good. If we go down, we all go down together. And we should always have the history of Radio Rwanda at the back of our minds. That sitting behind the microphone, what you say can make or break your country. Let's work together to ensure that we energize, campaign effectively, but not put out inflammatory material which can tend to provoke reactions that we may not have anticipated.
Esla Owusu-Ekufo is Minister for Communications and Digitalization. The parliamentary candidate of the National Democratic Congress (NDC) in the Gomwa Central constituency in the Central Region, Kwame Dean Yosin, has asserted his position as the front runner against incumbent MP Nana Eyia and independent candidate Kwame Asari, or being popularly known as A+. According to him, the NPP's 8-year reign in the constituency has seen little development within the enclave, thus the need for change of leadership. He indicated that it was under the NDC government that rural electrification, road infrastructure and the educational system of the constituency were started. Kwame Dean Yosin has been speaking to Citi News about his chances in the next elections.
Unfortunately, we should not be happy. We should use opportunities such as this to address lack of development in our various communities. Because looking at what is going on, our roads are very bad, the educational system is worse, lack of jobs, people are just working aimlessly, unfortunately. So I believe it is about time all of us come together and back me, Kwame Dinyoson. Kwame Dinyoson has always remained focused. I always look, in the future. In a fancy, we say, we see the future. We know it is bright. I have great initiatives that is already helping the people. And I stand tall with these two that you made mention of. I stand tall. And NDC with Kwame Dinyoson and John Dramani Mahama, we are winning this election. So I believe what I've said, it is a great, narrative that what may engine in Shekan.
So by what percentage do you think you can unseat the incumbent?
No, by a great margin. Because I've done my checks, I've done my work, I've talked to people, I've gone house by house, and the change is here. And it's time for us to all rally behind Kwame Dinyoson, the NDC, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, for victory come 2024.
We had a parliamentary candidate for the NDC in the Gumwa Central constituency, Kwame Dinyoson.
Let's remain with the NDC, and we are told that a youth group affiliated with the party in the northern region has locked up the regional office in protest over the detention of the vice chairman. The northern regional vice chairman of the NDC, Alhaji Gbewa, was detained by the Northern Regional Police Command after he had honored the police invitation to assist in investigations. The police had invited Alhaji Gbewa for questioning after the party's regional treasurer, Shamima Yakubu, reported a case of assault against him. Some of the youth members who vandalized the office have been who actually went to besiege the office and lock it up have been speaking to us.
Misunderstanding that occurred between our vice chairman and the treasurer. We have seen series of misunderstandings in the party before, and we've never seen a situation whereby a chairman has been arrested or something. So we don't know why this one. We don't know. And Shemima, for instance, this is not the first time she's been causing problems in the party. Even if you can remember, just last week, a week ago, she caused a problem again that resulted in a fight between Azoka and one of our party people called Tia. I think if we want to continue counting, this will not be the. I think we can count countless the number of times that she has brought problems within the party. And we are not reading here, we are northerners. And sometimes if you are a female and you find yourself within a party executive, sometimes no matter how you are, you don't want to prove yourself as if, because she's not the only one in the party, and she's not the only one who is a female executive. We have other female executives in the party, but why is it all the time? She's always the one. Shemima here, Shemima there. Anytime there's going to be any negative in the party, in the region, Shemima is involved. Ask yourself why. Is she the only female in the party, or is she the only woman in the party? No. Correct. So we are sending this signal to a national executive. We have seen our the national secretary release a statement indicating that they have seen what is happening in the North region, and we are also waiting to see what the outcome will be. Should they make any mistake by saying they are going to either sanction or suspend Alhaji Gbewa, then we'll let them know that Tamale belongs to we the Tamale. Because of the party we are here, and it's because we love the party, that's why we are here. There's no assurance that when the party comes to power, we are going to get anything. We've been in the party for a number of times, and we never got anything. Yet we are in the party just because of the love we have for the party. So what they are doing, in fact, it is not going to be good for the party within the region. So we are giving them, by the close of the day, we want Alhaji Gbewa to release, or else whatever that comes, we don't care whether the party is going to win or not. What we know is that Alhaji Gbewa is our brother, and he has suffered for this party. And even if we want to win, what Shemima has contributed to the party, and what Alhaji Gbewa has contributed to the party within the region, everyone here can testify that Alhaji Gbewa has done marvelously more than any other party. So we cannot use Shemima to exchange for Alhaji Gbewa. And therefore, Alhaji Gbewa, whether the party wants it or not, we are in support of Alhaji Gbewa. Even though what happened, we were not calling for that, and it wasn't good. Certainly, but Where Shamima is pushing us to, she's going to destroy the party within the region.
That's Haruna Mahama. He speaks for the youth of NDC in Northern Region. They've gone to lock up the party. Let's speak to Suleimana Mohammed. He's the Regional Secretary, Regional Communications Officer of the NDC in the Northern Region. Mr. Mohammed, you're welcome to Eyewitness News. First of all, what's the backstory? We saw pictures circulating that your vice chairman beat up your treasurer. What are the facts according to the party?
With this one, I have already told your producer offline. The matter is currently being investigated by the Ghana Police Service Northern Region Command. So for that matter, and also the matter is before the Tamale High Court. So I will not go into any details regarding this issue. The other aspect to it is that our party special complaints committee is also seriously looking into the matter. So for now, regarding the incident, that is what I can give to you for now, for the benefit of our team and supporters throughout the country.
Okay. What about the issue of the locking up of your office? Is that happening now, or the office has been unlocked?
The youth initially went there around midday today when we were all in the Tamale High Court, because the vice chairman was taken to the court by the police handling the issue. So we're in the court when we heard that some irate youth have gone to the regional secretariat. But after the court proceedings, I visited the regional secretariat and I saw that they have kept some red banners at the party office, but no vandalism took place. They didn't vandalize any item belonging to the party, and they didn't break into any office because we, the regional executive, had locked the offices before we went to the court to witness proceedings. So at the time of their visit, the office was already locked by the regional executive committee because we were going to court. So for that matter, they did not break into the office. They didn't have access into the office, let alone cause destruction to any property.
So it means that all things are all right now. You have sorted out your issues. You don't need assistance from anybody, from the police especially?
Oh, no, we don't for now.
And the guys who are speaking there, saying the things you're saying, you are not bothered because they say that if the vice chair is not released, they're going to continue with what they're doing.
Unfortunately for us, the court granted him bail to reappear on a later date as investigation into the matter continues. So their demand was, I would say, met with the granting of bail to Vice Chairman Alhaji Abdulhamid Bewa. So now everything is under control. I just left the office premises, the regional secretariat. Everything is under control. We are going about our normal party work at the regional secretariat. So for now, there is no cause for alarm. As you can hear the voices, they said they belong to the party, they love the party, and they want the good of the party. So they haven't caused any disruption, and there is no fear of them coming back to harm any person or cause any disruption to property.
Very well. Thank you so much. We leave it here for now.
Thank you.
That's Suleimana Mohammed. He's the NDC Regional Communications Officer in the Northern Region. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We are coming to you from our studios in Adabraka in Accra. More coming up next. Please stay.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Hello, Linda. You won't believe what I am planning next. I want to start my postgraduate degree, buy a car, and build my dream home. But you know what's stopping me?
What's that, Mike?
Money, that be my biggest wahala.
Oh, you are sorted, Cry. With a GCB Big Move personal loan promo, you can borrow up to a whopping 400,000 Ghana cedis at a significantly reduced interest rate in less than 24 hours.
Like seriously? Seriously? How do I qualify?
Yes, it's available to all GCB salary account holders. Plus, you get a 2-month grace period before you start to pay back.
Susket, I'm opening an account with GCB now.
Get a personal loan of up to 400,000 Ghana cedis at a significantly reduced interest rate in less than 24 hours. Call 0800-422-422 or visit your nearest GCB branch today to fund your next big move as we celebrate 70 years of greatness. T's and C's apply. GCB Bank, your bank for life.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Get the details. Every significant financial transaction, every market movement, and all the policies that affect your business. City Business News. Be informed.
Time now for City Business News on Eyewitness News, brought to you by GCB Bank PLC. GCB Personal Loan. Make that big move and dream a reality. My name is Hawa Idrisu Mustafa. Details of our stories now. Rating agency Fitch expects Ghana to emerge from default on their foreign currency debt this year. The UK-based firm, in its macro outlook for sub-Saharan Africa in 2024, anticipated gradual fiscal consolidation linked to financing constraint and fiscal reform efforts, often tied to IMF programs. In an interview with City Business News, economist Professor Godfred Bokpin shared insight into policy measures that government can focus on to ensure a successful emergence from default and ensure a sustained economic recovery.
I think the investors will watch keenly how we manage the 2024 election. And also the same Fitch in some of the analysis had picked up the possibility of fiscal indiscipline in the election year. And I think it's one of the things that we have to watch, that we don't have to accommodate fiscal pages as we have done in the time past with respect to the 2011, 2008, 2012, 2016, 2020. I think that we need to transition. We need to go into a new phase where Ghana is able to go through a competitive election, which probably could also occasion a regime change, and yet we do not undermine the fundamentals of the economy. That will be a testament to the maturity of our democracy. That will be a testament to fiscal consolidation, whether there is an election year or not. I think that is quite critical. Beyond that, it's also about the consistency in the policy prescriptions and how the various reforms reinforce each other.
You heard economist Professor Godfred Bokpin. The Ghana Interbank Payment and Settlement Systems Limited (GIPS) has signed a domestic processing partnership agreement with Visa, a global leader in digital payment. The move is in tandem with the Bank of Ghana's guidelines for domestic processing of payment card transactions with payment cards issued in the country. Chief Executive of GIPS, Archie Hesse, in a sideline interview with the media, highlighted the significance of the agreement with Visa in promoting financial inclusion.
It's going to support financial inclusion because at the moment, if you look at the Visa cards, they are seen as cards for the middle class and the upper class. Now, as part of our engagement, the cost is going to go down. Once the cost goes down, those in the lower sector as well can now afford to own Visa cards and start transacting as the case may be. You rightly know that per our mandate, we are focusing on the processing of domestic transactions, whether it's checks, whether it's ACH, whether it's mobile money, whether it's whatever it is, it's domestic. Now we are partnering with an international giant that is looking at international commerce.
We had the Chief Executive of the Ghana Interbank Payment and Settlement Systems Limited, Archie Hesse. Vice President and Cluster Head of Visa West Africa, Andrew Waboy, also speaking to the media, indicated that the government demonstrates Visa's commitment in tapping continuously in the Ghanaian market.
It's an opportunity for us to cement, for lack of a better word, the partnership that we've had with GIPS over a period of time, and to also demonstrate our commitment to the Ghana market. Ghana is a very important market. It's one of the fastest growing markets for us in sub-Saharan Africa. What this partnership does is, like I said, solidifies that commitment that we've put in on paper with GIBS, because you won't go and sign an agreement if you don't have a long-term ambition, and that's just a confirmation of our long-term ambition to play within this space, the payments area in this space. And like Mr. Archie said, I think he has mentioned a lot of the value and the benefit, both the market that is Ghana and individuals and as a bank would benefit from this partnership. So we are really excited about it, and we know that it's going to open doors to bigger and better opportunities for us to partner.
That was the Vice President and Cluster Head of Visa West Africa, Andrew Waboy. Agribusiness lending institution GERSEL has hinted of collaborating with financial institutions to extend $50 million assistance to local industry players within the rice value chain. Among the financial institutions, including Development Bank Ghana and Absa Bank, are expected to support local rice farmers by close of the year. In an interview with the media after awarding 4 financial institutions for their significant role in agricultural financing last year, the chief executive of GERSEL, Kwesi Koboy, noted that the support will contribute to enhancing the quality of rice production.
Currently, we're also now pioneering a new model in the rice value chain. We've just done the first deal in our Afram Plains. We're about working on the second one. And we're hoping that, and that's we're doing collaboration with DBG, with Absa is also very much involved in one of them. And the idea is that we're hoping that by end of the year, we should have leveraged finance of close to $50 million in the rice value chain. What does it mean? It means that we'll have companies that are producing quality rice similar to what we import and consume in this country. What does it do? Create jobs, reduces foreign exchange, and then also allows these business people to move into other areas. So the banks also want to learn. They've seen that the sector is very stable. They've seen that what we bring to the table is to provide them with tech assistance. They've seen that it's very reliable. The thing about agricultural products is that they are multi-use, user-friendly, and as such, you're able to sell and make money.
That was the Chief Executive of GERSEL, Kwesi Koboy. The Minister of Communications and Digitalization, Esla Owusu-Ekofo, has underscored the importance of cultivating a robust e-communication system to drive growth, emphasizing the need for optimizing the digital space to foster innovation. She believes this approach will significantly contribute to enhanced revenue mobilization efforts. Speaking at the launch of the 5-year strategic plan of the National Communications Authority in Accra, Esla Owusu-Ekofo urged the authority to maintain active engagement with relevant stakeholders in its regulatory initiatives.
This will also lead to the improvement of systems, processes, and infrastructure. You can't be in this sector and continue to work manually. So I'm glad that you're developing your capacity, creating a better work environment, performance measurement, and career development to motivate employees and increase operational performance. The fourth pillar in this our challenged economy is also very critical, for it aims to optimize your current resources, diversify and develop new areas of growth, including revenue generation for the NCA. This pillar will also ensure efficient spectrum management, enhance the digital transformation of Ghana, and generate additional revenue for the NCA. Commercialization initiatives and leasing of office spaces contribute to sustainable operations and resource optimization. The focus on quality broadcasting, safe electronic devices, and increased broadband access aligns with the broader goal of promoting a digitally inclusive and sustainable communications ecosystem.
We had the Minister for Communications and Digitalization, Esla Owusu-Ekofo, ending Citi Business News on Eyewitness News. The business news on Eyewitness News is brought to you by GCB Bank PLC. GCB Personal Loan. Make that big move and dream a reality. My name is Hawa Idrisu Mustafa. Up next is Point Blank.
Hello, Linda! You won't believe what I am planning next. I want to start my postgraduate degree, buy a car, and build my dream home. But you know what's stopping me?
What's that, Mike?
Money, oh. That be my biggest wahala.
Oh, you are sorted, Cry. With a GCB Big Move personal loan promo, you can borrow up to a whopping 400,000 Ghana cedis at a significantly reduced interest rate in less than 24 hours.
Like seriously? How do I qualify?
Yes, it's available to all GCB salary account holders. Plus, you get a 2-month grace period before you start to pay back.
Susket, I'm opening an account with GCB now.
Get a personal loan of up to 400,000 Ghana cedis at a significantly reduced interest rate in less than 24 hours. Call 0800-422-422 or visit your nearest GCB branch today to fund your next big move as we celebrate 70 years of greatness. T's and C's apply. GCB Bank, your bank for life.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
The wait is over. It's the Clash of Titans. The Total Energies African Cup of Nations Côte d'Ivoire 2023 is here. And as part of this year's competition, all Total Energy service stations will go into 100% football mode. So drive to selected service stations and kickstart your year with lots of amazing giveaways. This is our way of supporting our gallant Black Stars. So starting Sunday 14th January, when you buy fuel or lubricants from selected Total Energy service stations on Ghana match days, you instantly win amazing branded souvenirs. Let's celebrate the passion of football together and win lots of gifts during the 2023 Total Energies African Cup of Nations. Remember, promo is valid while stocks last. Visit our social media pages Total Energies GH for more information. Terms and conditions apply. Let's live football together.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
My name is Umaru Sandamado. Tonight on Point Blank, we have two issues. We'll go to Ivory Coast, where the Ghanaian football fans who spoke to us yesterday complaining about food and water are saying that the government has come to see them. They appear to have been sorted out. We'll hear the story. But before then, let's do NPP internal politics. The party goes to the polls on 27th January to elect parliamentary candidates in constituencies that it has sitting MPs. This is happening across the country. A number of constituencies, including the one that we are going to tonight, the Nsawam Adwejiri constituency in the Eastern region. Frank Anodomper is the MP there. He's also the majority chief whip. He's been challenged by the CEO of the Ghana Library Authority, Efort Sian. Now, in the early days of this process, we spoke to Efort Sian about challenges he had with picking forms and returning same. Now, the new information is that his posters are being defaced in the constituency. He joined us on the line for a conversation on that. Honorable, okay, you're not honorable yet, but Mr. Sian, good evening.
Good evening, how are you?
I'm well. How is the campaign going?
It's going well. It's been a very good experience, and we are doing very, very well on the ground.
When I interviewed you last year as Library Authority boss, you didn't give me any direct hint that you were going to run for Parliament. When did you decide to contest this particular constituency, and why that constituency?
Okay, thank you very much, and good evening to your listeners. Of course, at the meeting that I had with you last year, nominations had not been open, and constituents of Nsawam Adwejiri were at that time appealing to me to make a decision to contest. And I needed to do a lot of consultations across the constituency before I make that intention known. Thankfully, on the 20th of December, the party made open nominations, and at that time, I had completed consultations with various stakeholders within the constituency and have been given their blessing and support to make that decision. So on 20th of December last year, that decision was formally made, and I picked the forms and was able to submit. Thankfully, I've been able to go through the vetting process, and I'm now on the ballot to be voted on the 27th of January.
I see. And so since you started the process, how has it been like? Aside the earlier issues of the forms, how has the campaign been generally?
It's been pretty well. I've been well received by the polling station executives, the constituency executives in the constituency. The electoral area coordinators have been very collaborative with me. Meetings that I have organized have all gone on successfully. With just a few issues like you just raised to your listeners. I mean, these are matters that are quite minor in their impact on the overall voting that will happen on the 27th of January. But generally, the polling station executives whose welfare are at stake and are looking forward to a change, in the constituency have been very receptive and very accommodating of favor.
Let's talk about the posters. We are told that your posters have been defaced. What has been happening?
Okay, so of course, my supporters in the constituency have been doing door-to-door campaign. They've been, posting my posters all over the constituency. And so a few days ago, they had posted they've witnessed that a lot of the posters that have been, put on walls across the constituency, people go behind them to remove them. These reports came in, but I thought that it wasn't, very important for us to concentrate on. But of course, the supporters were very unhappy, and so they've been monitoring. And thankfully, one morning they witnessed someone from the camp of the incumbent MP, removing my posters. They confronted this man who then entered into a confrontation with my supporters. And thankfully, we had some people in the constituency who were able to come to the scene and calm tension. Then, subsequently, they went to paste the posters back at those locations. Unfortunately for them, again, this time around, accompanied by the incumbent, he went with these guys to remove the posters. There was a confrontation, and at the end of the day, calm was restored. My message to my supporters have just been to remain calm. This is just one of those things that happens when somebody is entering into a defeat contest. Posters don't really vote. Posters are just to create awareness about a candidate, and so I have advised my supporters not to be perturbed and not to worry about the removal of our posters. As long as we have a lot of posters to paste on the walls, we will continue to explore that. We can also explore electronic means to also make our candidate well known in the constituency. So we have taken matters very easily. This is an internal contest. This is not a contest of two political parties. So we have to make sure that these issues are resolved internally. But basically, we have been very calm about it.
Who do you suspect to be behind this?
Oh, we've seen the incumbent and the supporters removing the posters. The incumbent was there.
He himself?
He himself was there. He supervised the removal of the posters for the second time, and he told people that they pasted these posters on culverts that were on a park in Ankwan Dobro electoral area. And so he was there telling them that he used his own money to buy the culverts and that they should not paste my posters on those culverts and that they should remove it. And so we have, evidence of him being there, video evidence of him being there supervising the removal of my posters.
Interesting. Now, you mentioned the incumbent, that's the majority chief whip. You're going to have a hell of a challenge against him, aren't you? Because he seems very fortified.
I do not understand the meaning of fortified, but what it is that the polling station executives of Mr. Ahmad Woju have witnessed a decline in the fortunes of the New Patriotic Party in the constituency. Between 2016 to 2020, NDC have managed to accumulate over 12,000 votes in addition to their votes that they recorded in 2016. MPP, on the other hand, have only done 7,000 votes in addition to what we recorded in 2016. And so if you do a historical trend analysis where the NDC has also nominated the same candidate, assuming another 4 years, they managed to add another 12,000 votes to what they've managed to record over the last 4 years. That will be 12,000 within 8 years. If MPP present the same candidate who recorded only 7,000 votes in addition to what was recorded in 2016, that will only be a 14,000 votes in addition. If you do the minus or plus, NDC will be going ahead of us by 10,000 votes. The margin of votes, the difference in votes between MPP and NDC in 2020 was just around 3,000 votes. If you subtract that from 10,000, NDC can win in Salman Reji's seat by recording over 7,000 votes difference. This is the concern of the police station executive.
And this concern is not the vehicle that is broken, and rather the driver. That's what you think?
Oh, yes. It's a driver that is, that has exhibited, things that are not able to consolidate or grow the fortunes of the party in the constituency. And that is why they are looking forward to Hefosian to bring a new visionary direction to the party in the constituency, brings unity. Currently, as I speak to you, there's a huge, brawl. There's a huge conflict between the incumbent MP and the chairman of the party in the constituency. How do you enter into a 2024 election when you are fighting with your chairman of the party in the constituency? And so these are matters of concern that the polling station executive are very worried about. And that is why they want to bring in a new candidate who can bring unity to the party in the constituency. And that is why they are behind me.
What are your plans for Nsawa Madweju constituency if you got elected as the MP eventually?
Okay, so broadly, my strategy is based on two strategies. One is about the party itself within the constituency, and the other is on the broad Nsawa Madweju constituency and the constituency and inhabitants of Nsawa Madweju constituency. On the front of the party being stronger, being well managed, so that we can be able to increase our fortunes. Number one is to be able to make sure that as the leader of the party within the constituency, treats all people fairly. So in a constituency, we have a situation where when there is something to be done for polling station executives, there is often discrimination. People benefit while others do not. Hefosian is somebody who is going to ensure equity and equality of purpose within the constituency. Number two, unity within the party, within the constituency. I will make sure that going into election 2024, there is no division. Reach out to all stakeholders, bring in old executives, current executives, to be able to work together. That is one thing that has always been lacking in the constituency. And Hefosian promises to be able to bring that to the constituency. Hefosian is also promising that he is going to make sure that the polling station executive within our various electoral areas have the capacity to be able to do the work that they are supposed to do for the party, to be able to retain power and increase our vote. We will do that by providing adequate training for our polling station executives. Some of them have been polling station executives for 12 years and they've not received any training from anywhere. They've just been used as voting machinery. Hefosian is going to change that, where polling station executives and the electoral area coordinators are going to be trained. And not only that, they are also going to be given resources during election time so that they can be able to do the house-to-house campaign we've been preaching. I am going to make sure that T-shirts and adequate resources are provided for them, because as they go about, people ask for T-shirts. And you can imagine a police station executive not even having a T-shirt to share to party faithfuls. And Hefosian is going to make sure that the resources that comes from national to the constituency are equally shared for all police station executives to be able to undertake their main responsibilities. Another one is on the broader in Salmon Wajiri constituency. The biggest challenge we have in Salmon Wajiri constituency is on jobs. We have a lot of our youth not being engaged in any activity, and for that reason, we have a lot of unemployment issues. Ifosao already has created what we call the HS Job Center, and so HS Job Center is already open. We have a website called hsjobcenter.com. The idea is to be able to curate job opportunities so that the young people within the constituency who are looking for job opportunities are prepared to be able to, take these opportunities. So we have a team that is always aggregating job opportunities that are happening in the constituency and around the constituency, so that we can be able to rapidly inform, people that are looking for job opportunities and link them up to, the industry. Besides that, also we are providing also CV support training programs that, what I call the HIFOD, Engage with HIFOD, where I train people on how to develop the CVs, how to prepare for job interviews and all of that. Besides that, also, we also understand that agriculture is the bedrock of economic development within the constituency. 37% of our population within the constituency are engaged in agriculture. A major challenge for those involved in agriculture is irrigation, because they are only able to go into planting when they have adequate rain. The idea of HIFOS now is to be able to make sure that we get a lot more of our young people interested in the agriculture sector. So bringing in different partners and investors within the constituency, we have large farm, we have large acres of, on tap land availability within the constituency. We have readily available market with Blue Sky, but currently Blue Sky is not even able to get enough raw materials from within the constituency. Hence, they have to bring in raw materials from other parts of the country and even outside the country to be able to package their fruits for export. HIFOSAL is going to make sure that agriculture, which already has a ready market with the fruit sector with Blue Sky, we are able to work with Chiefs to make a lot more land available, bring in investors, employ a lot more youth who can be able to then have, who can be able to then have an opportunity, to work and earn something. And so that's also one key area we are going to also focus on. The other is also making Nsamad Wajiri a tourism hub within the country when it comes to an intervention that I intend to establish called the Bread Festival. Nsamad Wajiri is known for bread, and I want to make Nsamad Wajiri the bread capital of Africa, where we will have, just like in other parts of Europe where people do wine festival and people travel from all over the Europe to go and taste wine, Nsamad Wajiri will become the bread capital of Africa, where 1 week within a year, it will be dedicated to making sure that there is variety of bread available within the constituency. People will come all over the country and around the world to come here and learn how to bake. People will come here to experience different bread types and all of that. And that, we believe, if we are able to position Nsamad Wajiri as the bread capital of Africa,
very well,
it will increase the image and also increase employability within the constituency.
Thank you, and we wish you all the best. That's Hayford Sion. He's currently the head of the Library Authority, but also wants to be parliamentary candidate of the MPP in the Nsamad Wajiri constituency. He mentioned specifically the Member of Parliament there, the Honorable Frank Anodom. We've called him to respond to the allegations made against him. We've not been successful in hearing from him. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 segment, 97.3 Citi FM. This segment is known as Point Blank. Now, last night we brought you a story on Eyewitness News where Ghanaian football supporters who went to Ivory Coast say that they were neglected by the government, and that as a result of that, they were having difficulties with food and water. We spoke to a journalist there. We've called him up again tonight, Daniel. A journalist who spoke to us yesterday to ask him what the state of affairs is. Daniel, you're welcome to Eyewitness News. We are hearing that there's good news tonight in Ivory Coast, different from what you told us yesterday.
Yes, there's good news. Yesterday after the story was broke, around midnight, in fact, most of us went to sleep before officials came, and they came to call us, and if I gave us what we were due as in protest. I am actually not aware, but what I do know from some of the protests is that they also receive $400 as those at the Entrememi Hotel here also received.
Now, do you know if this is just a part payment or that's a total payment that each person receives throughout the tournament?
In fact, officials were unable to tell us. We asked, some people ask questions, but they refuse to speak to it. So we don't know whether this is going to be for the entire tournament or as the Blasters progress to the next group, maybe something may happen. As in fact, we don't know yet.
And let me just again be sure, this $400 is exclusive of accommodation. The government is paying for your hotel accommodation. This is for just food and water, correct?
You are right.
The people who said to me last night they were tired and wanted to come back home, what's their mood now? Have they changed their song or they are still planning to come home before Thursday?
Yesterday, if you listen carefully, they said not that they wanted to go back home, but they were saying that because of the treatment, because they have no food, they have no water, and nobody would love to stay in a place that there's no water, especially when that's not his home country. So everybody would want to go back. But after the things were resolved, the issues were resolved, everybody is happy now. In fact, a section of the supporters, in fact, even traveled to go and have a feel of the Blasters training. In fact, they have not yet even returned. So, and those of us who remain there are okay. And in fact, they are eager for the Thursday's game.
Thank you so much, Daniel, for speaking to us.
Thank you, Umaru.
That's Daniel Nyongmo. He's a journalist who is speaking to us from Ivory Coast. So the information is that the Ghanaians who were there have been given the money that they so required, and now they are back into full Black Star support mode. That would be it for Eyewitness News tonight. My name is Umaru Sanda Amadu. Production by Kobna Wilson, Beverly London, and Sami Wiafe. Technical support from Desmond Nyaku. New media support from Edwin Kwakofi. We return tomorrow at 17:30 GMT. Thank you for listening. Have a good night.
City News. We speak first. Reach our hotline on 0302 224959 and get